dangerous will be taken off the table. So we'll see how Hammers are going to react to that one and what they opt to take off the table themselves. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Batiste banned here.
Yeah, Batiste would make some
Batiste
sense.
or Kestrel.
Kestrel, I was going to say as well, just to take that away from Hyde. They did beat the Baron Kestrel, but it was very much up in the air.
I mean, none of the games this series have been, let's
Cruel
say,
is banned.
convincing, right?
So it looks like they want to play an aggressive Koshka composition. So I think Hammers will probably pick up the Koshka here, and then Temple Storm will probably go with the Samuel or CP Kestrel.
I mean, Koshka did get banned last game as well, so maybe
think
that...
No, Koshka was played last game.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
it wasn't
You think
banned.
Temple Storm is going to run the Captain Glaive?
I don't know. They could. So
it doesn't-
Hammers can pick Batiste too, but Batiste is not good against Baron in terms of the range, and Baron can kind of jump out of it. So they're going to go with Vox and potentially CP Blackfeather here, I assume, or Koshka would probably be the best options here. They need someone that can get onto that Baron. But there's going to be a lot of CC, because if they pick Koshka, then Temple Storm will probably pick Batiste. So let's see what they decide. So maybe CP Blackfeather makes the most sense for them in this composition.
Yeah, I think the Blackfeather is pretty smart just because you have the ability to ignore a lot of crowd control. You can be incredibly durable between your shield from the on point, or the barrier from the on point, as well as the healing coming out from a Grace. So Blackfeather, I think, would be a very smart pickup, but you know, Hammers have
they're running out of
gone off
time.
the wall.
Tempo can pick up Sky. If they pick up Sky, they're going to have a really good late game combination. It completely counters the Grace. You can't really dive a Baron with Sky, also protecting the Baron with the 4 Barrage, with the ultimates. So if Temple gets Sky here, they're going to have a really, really nice draft against a Hammers draft here.
For sure, Hammers just deciding what to pick up here.
Yep,
It
the
will be
Koshka is going to come out instead of Blackfeather. So I think they can still go with Sky, or they can go with potentially Samuel or Batiste here.
I think Batiste would be a smart pick. It allows you to then run the Batiste as a captain, put the Glaive in the jungle. They can definitely double weapon it if they want to into the Koshka and Vox. But I just don't, the Captain Glaive, it just doesn't bring as much to the table as it used to. There's still plenty of cool. They're going to go with the Kestrel. So it is going to be the Captain
It's
Glaive.
just risky against a Grace, because Grace has a level 9 Benediction. You get on that Kestrel like this, like we saw Cloud9 do against IMT.
I guess in a series as messy as this one has been, you want to be on things that you're comfortable on, and Gatsby on the Baron and Hyde on the Kestrel. Definitely comfort picks coming through. We'll see how it's going to work out for them. So how are we feeling about these compositions? Because obviously we've got one that's a lot more aggressive than the other one, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely the side of Hammers are going to be looking to find fights early, but you know, we've said that before, and Temple Storm was willing to answer that early aggression with some of their own. So this is going to be an absolutely thrilling match regardless of how it goes.
Yeah, I want this to be as close as the other ones. Thoughts on the composition, Sweet J?
I think pretty even, but Grace Caution put a lot of early game pressure, and also Grace Echo O could be a big hard time for Baron.
Yeah, for sure. And the Baron Kestrel, obviously, we saw the amount of burst damage that can come out of that earlier on today. We'll see whether they can kind of replicate that success, because I don't even remember if the composition won that game. It was definitely won a few fights, though. I think, was that the first? That was the first game of this series. Am I correct? My memory's gone at this stage. There's been too many games today.
I believe it was.
Definitely going to be an interesting one to see whether they can burst people down. Oh, I think it was in the Cloud9 series, wasn't it? Because I remember Joseph getting blown up by it at some point. But anyway, we're taking a trip down memory lane here, but we are going to be able to get this game underway. So let us know on social media who you want to win this one. And also, tell your friends about this game. Hashtag Vainglory on Twitter. Get everybody in here, because the first 2 games of this series have been incredible. The third game is definitely going to live up as well. It's time for us to jump on into this game. It's time for us to finish this semi-final. Hollywood Hammers up against Tempo Storm. Let's do this.
That's right, Game 3 between the Hammers and Tempo Storm. These teams are incredibly exciting, very fun to watch. And as we look at these compositions, I feel like Hammers have a very well-rounded draft this game to nominate. What are your thoughts?
I think they have a well-rounded draft indeed. The one risk, obviously, is Koshka, if she dives on into a Kestrel trap, is going to get absolutely deleted, and they have to worry about Lost Boy Toph in particular hunting somebody out of position into one of those traps. They can do an absolutely huge amount of damage, especially with the double Shatterglass build, but it looks like Toph's rotating over here to try to get some farm.
Yeah, Toph's going to play some games. This is just kind of a ring around the rosy here for Toph, chasing, or having Playboy Afro chase him down. And it's kind of silly, but it's fun. Archaic able to just get his backs there. He should be able to get his level 2. Same thing with Hyde, as Hyde gets a very easy clear because the Lost Boy, like, okay, that doesn't make sense at this point. And now he uses his boots. It's like he was hanging around for an opportunity that he could maybe steal something, but now he's put himself on the back foot.
Yeah, definitely put himself on the back foot. He's in a huge danger now of coming down in. Hammer's looking to aggress in here. He does just make it out. I mean, as far as this game goes, it's looking to be just as intense as game number 1 and game number 2. I think the real win condition here, again, for the side of Tempo is really just get to the late game, let the Baron obviously get to that insane damage potential, as well as you have to get Glaive to a very, very tanky position. Koshka with the Aftershock in the mid game should be able to make short work of him.
And he typically, in this captain position, has to pick up one item that gives him a bit of energy, or some energy regen. What do we think that item's going to be this game?
Well, we'll very likely see the War Treads come out just because he's a captain, so I wouldn't say we're going to go into any Halcyon Chargers. I almost want to say that Toph in the mid to late game can build into an Aftershock just for a little additional energy, as well as topping off with potions as much as he can. We do see that he has potions in his inventory as opposed to selling them for flares, knowing that Glaive is very, very energy driven hero with those afterburns take up, about half of your energy here in the early game.
Yeah, it's so much energy as a total percent of your pool. Lost Boy just kind of hanging out here in the lane as Gatsby's just doing his farming thing, same thing across the board, starting all over, just trying to farm. He's low energy, so I imagine starting trying to farm this as quickly as possible so he can port back, and it looks like that's pretty much how it's going to play out here. Lost Boy snips it out, goes to the afterburn, just to delay him about 2 seconds there, but maybe that's enough. Down in the jungle, though, Hyde getting lit up by Archaic, who closed the gap and found him, and once that CP Kestrel has the gap closed, he usually does pretty well. They trade 1 for 1, leaving Playboy Afro to trade with Lost Boy Toph. Both captains just watching their junglers fall.
Yeah, and that was first blood going over to Hammers, though. The damage that a Captain Glaive can do in the early game is absolutely crazy in comparison to some of the other heroes that we see. He does clean up the kill onto Archaic. So looking pretty good for both teams again. These teams have been very back and forth all series long. It's going to be really exciting to see who goes on here.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to see Tempo Storm moving forward, but honestly, my honest opinion is that I think Hammers just feel like the stronger team. Even though, we're tied up in the series 1-1, I feel like Hammers, if they played a little cleaner, maybe, hold that, I cursed them starting all over. Uses his boots, can he get out of here? Yes, he can. Playboy Afro, Holy Nova, Archaic's there. They take Hyde down, they've turned it around, they got 1, they got 2, maybe looking for 3, are they gonna dive into the turret? Gatsby turns, he gets some attacks. Gatsby doesn't have jump jets, he probably could have turned that and taken at least 1 down. With a very quick turn up from Hammers there.
That was absolutely crazy. We've seen starting all over on the edge of life, and man, they're going in.
Yeah, they go in, they take that kill. The thing is, like, once they've dropped turret aggro, and Archaic can buff up his attacks and then move back in there with cooldowns ready to go, he just bursts the target down.
Yeah, that was a bunch of quick kills going on over to Hammers there. They don't find the ace, but they do find 3 kills. Aftershock is now complete for Koshka. I do want to make note that starting all over has gone breaking point first on Vox. And that to me is a little iffy because he doesn't really have the actual weapon damage or attack speed to ramp that up against this frontlining Glaive. It's gonna be, this game's gonna be on Archaic. Honestly, this game is gonna be entirely on Archaic.
All right, well, we're making the call. It's all on Archaic. I think starting's got a role to play, but yeah, it's going to be very different. Dude, that active camo, you got to be careful starting all over. Dude, back yourself up. Playboy Afro moves in to try to frontline for his team. Archaic, he jumps in. He spins around with a little twirly death and finds a kill. And right back in onto Gatsby. Archaic needs to drop the turret aggro. He does so. He's back in. Double kill there for Archaic. Playboy Afro will go down, but Archaic and starting all over get out of that one.
Yeah, and the afterburn is down for Lost Boy Toph here in the early game. That cooldown is absolutely massive. This is the one downfall of really going with the breaking point first is normally we'd have that poison shiv that would allow starting to heal up here, and he just doesn't have it. He has to be really careful because of the afterburn now.
He's not being incredibly careful. One shot, one kill. What an aptly named ability when it's in the hands of Hyde.
Hyde has been absolutely impressive on this Crystal Kestrel, not only today, but in the past as well. This is definitely one of his better heroes, one of his comfort picks. So definitely a lot of opportunity for tempo here if Afro isn't able to get down a lot of vision.
Yeah, laners farming very equally. Hyde has a bit of an advantage in the CS in the jungle department. Although Archaic sitting on a KDA 4-1-2 is pretty good, so I think he's quite happy with how things are playing out. Hyde able to steal one of the forward camps there with a very long-range Glimmer shot. 6.5 minutes in, it's 6-3 in favor of Hammers at this point. It feels like we're going to have another game with a pretty good amount of action.
Yeah, it's all of these games have been literally back and forth between Hammers and Tempo Storm. Hyde does have a bit of a CS advantage here in the jungle. He clears out just a little bit faster than the Koshka, so he's able to get through his rotations much quicker. We do have a little bit of a lead on starting all over in the lane, though, looking to go into a Tyrant's Monocle, it appears, as a second item, which is going to be incredibly interesting that he's not going to have the Poison Shiv until way late in the game, if he even goes into it at all.
He's both starting all over and old school.
Apparently.
Just an old school build. Benediction in there, Gatsby with a very defensive jump jets to reposition himself. This is Hyde moving up. The flares come out. They see Hyde. They know he's sneaking around there. That's kind of a predicament. It's a decision you have to make as the CP Kessler. You move up from the jungle. It's like, oh, careful moving in. Oh, dude, starting all over has been. Starting didn't react. Like, what was the reaction there? Starting all over, trying to heat up a hot pocket and got caught by surprise by Hyde, even though he had the vision there. And I was gonna say, like, as the Kessler, you either move up right past the brush and try to get a surprise angle, or you kind of plant yourself and pop people. Ooh, that one shot connecting. Gatsby not able to get on target there. Hyde continues to throw the Glimmer shots, moving forward as Lost Boy, doing a good job to be the front line for his team. That beefy glaive right here. Hyde continues to throw glimmers. I think only one out of that round of 4 connected, but it's enough to make Hammers really respect the damage coming out.
Yeah, they have to respect that damage, and starting is actually going into the breaking point double monocle build. So looking for more sustain as far as sustainable damage than actual health. So definitely an opportunity for him to ramp up very quickly in these fights as he completes that second item. Archaic is now looking to get into a broken myth, very likely of his own next. I can very well imagine that starting and Archaic will both go into a metal jacket build. And now starting pushing up a little too close. Gotta be worried about that afterburn.
Yeah, dude, that's just so sketchy. Right through the choke point. Oh, one shot. It hit Playboy Afro, I think. An afterburn back. Archaic. He should get the Divine Intervention. Yes, he does. Lost Boy dropping low. The wait for it comes through. Plus some attacks out of starting all over. He's at 10 breaking point stacks very quickly. We talked about how he might take a while to ramp up on those BP stacks, but that actually ramped up super quick.
Well, it's because he's going that monocle, the double monocle build. So if he would have gone into a Poison Shift Tension Bow, it would have taken him time to ramp it up. But man, the Hammer's
Archaic jumping forward, they find the stun, Hyde get knocked up, and they find the damage starting all over. They're just melting people down, and starting should be able to get out of here. Yes, he has just enough time. He doesn't have the aggro. He's out of there.
Yeah, and that was a really risky call for Hammers. They do lose Archaic off in that trade. Not quite tanky enough to go diving that many turrets safely. Starting all over, and Playboy Afro are able to make it out. This game has been, again, we called it from the beginning. These teams have been so evenly matched, looking very intense. Hyde working his way into that second Shatterglass, looking to really take off here for tempo.
Yeah, when he starts to complete his second and third item, it's just going to get insane. So Lost Boy went for the contraption. That was his item choice. I think that makes a lot of sense here. Do you like it?
For Toph, it doesn't seem to me it's as useful as it would be for Playboy Afro, but man, look at Archaic coming in here.
Archaic, he blocks off the afterburn to peel him off of Hyde. Hyde had thrown the one shot up the lane. What incredible game sense from Archaic. Really nice plays. Starting all over is taking the turret, though, as they're distracted, and Gatsby can't defend this Playboy Afro. Throws the heal out onto Archaic, and suddenly Hammers are all in fighting shape here. They're in the lead 10-4. They have net worth advantage. And Denominate, they're on this gold miner as well. This is a very nice series turn of events here for Hammers.
Yeah, and starting should have enough gold to complete that monocle, and there it is. This is where this Vox build really starts to take off. He still has to be a bit careful, though. He does not have a reflex block available to him yet, so there is still a bit of danger. He's pretty good at blocking those afterburns as they come in. We've seen him in the past do so very well, but he obviously doesn't have that available to him right now. If he can get repositioned by Lost Boy into Hyde's Glimmer shots, then we could definitely see starting drop very early on in the fight.
Yeah, we definitely could. Starting though, man. Double Tyrants, he's ready to go. His boots ready to activate. I think that's another thing as well. Like, yeah, the Vox has Sonic Zoom. He's a highly mobile hero, but just being able to use your boots gives you that little extra something in and through these fights to make sure that you're able to, you know, A, stay on a target, or B, disengage super cleanly. The one-shot, one-kills coming through are taking 50% of Vox's health at this point if they connect.
Yeah, and that's one thing that, again, Hyde has been absolutely so amazing on. He's, you know, either used it to finish off a kill or to get somebody low so they can make an engage. Hammers do take away that Crystal Sentry, 2 lives remaining, and that is going to be starting, very likely upgrading his boots, I would think, as he shops. He actually just decides to infuse instead, looking for a little more damage. That very aggressive starting all over playstyle that we know and love. This is, again, Tempo has this Baron, though. As this game gets later and later, his range is going to get further and further, especially as he puts that 3rd point into that Ion Cannon. So it's going to be all about if Hammers can make a safe engage. If Hyde gets a good active camo down, the fight goes over to Tempo, almost no questions asked.
But I feel like that's actually the only way they can win as well. And like, if Hammers get caught by like a massive active camo that they don't see, and it blows up one of their key target. Otherwise, it just feels like Tempo Storm are on the back foot, and I don't know what Hammers can do besides kind of throwing this game to lose it. Like, it feels like they have all of the tools they need.
Well, they're only about 3,000 gold here at the 13-minute mark ahead, so they definitely don't have a huge lead by any man. Hyde with those one-shots. Finding another one onto starting all over, drops him down about 1/3 of his health. And Hammers might look to just take this gold mine here. Again, if anybody on Crystal Kestrel is going to find a good active camo to swing a game around, it's going to be Hyde. He's so proficient on this hero.
Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like Hyde, when it comes down to like the CP Kestrel players, I feel like Hyde is very good at landing his glimmer shots and his one-shot one-kills. But he's not as aggressive with his active camo usage or like forward placement of it. We'll see. I'm sure. I mean, he does a good job laying them in choke points as needed, kiting backwards. But at this point, it's really gonna take a pretty much oblivious engagement out of Hammers to be caught by it. It feels like Hyde, he'll be able to grab his own mid, throwing the glimmers out, contested by Hammers. One shot, not going to find its mark. As Hammers just trying to buy some time. It's 14 minutes in here. I mean, we probably see in the next minute they'll go for gold miner right at the last minute, and then we're gonna have a bit of a crack in either take and contest, or these guys will fight and then just take it.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that you noted about Hyde here on this Kestrel not being able to be aggressive with the active camos, you got to look at the vision that Playboy Afro has put down. There's not really anywhere on the map that Hyde can get himself ahead, and he knows that. That's why he's playing back. That's why he's playing safe. And now that Playboy Afro has this Echo completed on this Grace, he's going to be an absolutely huge contributor to these team fights, able to spam out that Divine Intervention. Very likely going to be on Archaic, as he's going to be the one really diving in.
Oh, okay. This Yummy Cannon Frenzy is going to be so incredibly important. If he can land the stun onto Gatsby, onto Hyde,
I think he landed on Hyde.
Honestly, they don't have to even stun Hyde. They just have to get on top of him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear target with Hyde not having a reflex block that we can land it onto him. And that's going to really put him in a position where Vox can build up a lot of breaking point stacks quick just because he has absolutely no defense. And that's what's going to give... So here we go!
Gatsby silenced up. They move forward and burst him down, starting all over. Just striking incredibly quickly. They're actually going to get a double kill, starting all over with 16 breaking point stacks here at the end of this one. And he's doing it with the throwback Vox build, the BP double monocle build, and it's pretty fun to watch, man.
It's really fun to watch how fast this build ramps up. It doesn't offer the same sustain though, but this is now Hammers looking at the Kraken, and with 3 turrets up, this is an opportunity for them to really put some hurt onto the base. One shot, one kill comes out way too soon, and now it's going to be difficult for Hyde. He's spotted out.
Yeah, he's spotted out. You know, like, okay, yeah, so look at that ion cannon from across the map coming through. They'll be able to unleash the Kraken there.
Yeah, Archaic actually burned his reflex block here. This is an opportunity now for Tempo. That's a pretty sizable cooldown onto that. Oh, he upgrades it into the Aegis just now.
Yeah,
so
he's cheesing, man.
Yeah, definitely used it for a little bit of protection on that last Kraken hit that was coming down. But upgrading it into the Aegis obviously refreshes it. So actually no loss for Archaic there on using that item. This is looking really good for Hammers. Again, if Hyde can get a good defensive trap down, then they can really find a lot of damage onto Archaic. A stun followed up by a jump jets from Baron would be absolutely devastating. I think that might be the first one-shot, one-kill Hyde's missed this game.
Yeah, and it's an important one right now. They need to apply all of the damage that they actually can at this point. They're on the back foot. Hyde laying the active camo, starting all over, wants to get in there. Gaspy jump jets backwards, starting all over, moving forward with that move speed coming out of the war treads from Playboy Afro. Now it looks like they're gonna just go ahead and let Kraken get killed off here. So it reaches the 50% mark, and they don't have huge range, so I think it's a smart play.
Yeah, it's definitely a smart play. They definitely over or understayed in that last game, and it cost them in the long run. So they definitely don't want to let that happen again, especially with game number 3. They don't have a extra game to give away. Starting all over does get a chance to recall. Now has the Aegis. I'm actually surprised that him and Archaic have not completed tier 3 armor. They've actually blocked out the damage coming from the Kestrel before the Baron.
What would you have done instead?
I mean, they're playing it really well overall. I mean, they're just finding the damage. It's not really looking bad for them. I just think that, honestly, Gaspy's the bigger threat than Hyde at this point. Hyde has not been able to find anything but some good cross-map one-shot, one-kills. They've been too far away for the team to capitalize on the damage taken, though. So that's really given a little bit of advantage over to Hammers, because they haven't really needed to block out anything from Hyde. So if Tempo can find a good fight, we could swing it back in their favor. Obviously, we have a pretty sizable
starting all
lead.
over 1 versus 3. He finds one. He's looking for 2, dude. I was what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you got a chance, but come on. Starting all over just ran at them. He finds Hyde and just puts him in the dirt.
I'm going to be honest with you, he went so far ahead there, I didn't even see it happening. Out of the corner of my eye, I seen him going in, but I didn't realize it was going to be such a clean kill onto Hyde.
Number 3.
Oh my
There was
goodness.
One hammer, 3 tempos. Man. That's why this guy is very fun to watch.
He is, and again, the speed this double monocle build comes on, especially into this Kestrel, who has just now completed that second Shatterglass 19 minutes into the game. That's definitely a huge deficit for the side of Tempo, especially when starting can basically 3 or 4 shot one of your carries.
Starting, building up a couple breaking point stacks incredibly quickly. 6 stacks off of just like an attack and a sonic zoom backwards. Lost Boy wants to be the front line for his team, but it's so hard at this point. No Atlas Pauldron for him. Hyde stealthed up, moving forward. Flares come out from Playboy Afro. Scout traps down, but they clear it out very quickly. Hyde trying to kite back, throwing the Glimmer. He's not going to pop it off. War treads. They're going to find the stun on the Starting. Starting throws the wait for it. It connects onto Lost Boy. Gaspy. He's just trying to run. Gaspy's not even trying to apply damage. He can't survive through it. Starting all over, critting them down, finding the damage. 19 breaking point stacks, and the ace. Archaic was just the cherry on top for the damage there. Starting will throw out some charms as they close this one out here. Game 3, going to Hammers.
Yeah, it should be easily going over to them with the cooldowns on the death timers for the side of Tempo. Starting played absolutely out of his mind this game, in my opinion at least. He, 8-1 on this Fox. Archaic found a lot of good stuns to help his team, and that is going to be Game 3 going on over to Hammers. That build ramps up so fast, Humanist.
Yeah, it really does. It was fun to see it come out here because we really haven't seen this build in quite a while, but I don't know. at the end of the day, Hammers, they're finding the win. I felt like they played better overall than Tempo Storm, but you can see where Tempo definitely had a chance. But for our analysts, I'm really curious, man. Was this playstyle? Was it the build? And why the build this game of all games? I don't know. Munchables, guys, break it down.